welcome to the Entrepre-doers live show with myself, Anthony, and our special guest, Resale King, Brandon.
Good morning.
What's going on, everyone?
Anthony, you want to go through the chat and say hello to the few that are watching right now?
Yeah, give me a sec here. I don't even have the chat up yet, but I'll go through the one on StreamYard. First person we have in today is Justin Jacobs. What's going on, my man? He says, hope everyone had a good Christmas. Yeah, Christmas was good, man. Thank you for your well wishes. Alexis is in the house. What's going on? Marsden, what's going on? She's coming on next week, right, Nate?
Yes, she'll be on next Friday.
Cool. We got Anthony, the Bluegrass Picker, in the house. Got this everyday I'm hustling character. I don't know much about him.
Right? I hear they got a good beard, though.
That's what I've heard. We have Rusted Raccoon. What's going on, Tony? Good to see you, man.
Little line tamer from time to time.
Swamp Picker. What's up, Glenn? Good to see you, man. Got Shane M in the house. What's going on, Shane? Michelle Lathan, good morning. Couple of pickers. What's going on, Rob and Lisa? Good to see you guys. Good morning. Anyone else I missed, feel free to say something in the chat and we will greet you as per always.
Got some good people already.
Yep.
So Brandon, what platforms do you currently sell on right now?
Right now, I've got eBay and Amazon going, and I have a booth at the flea market, a trailer rather, that I pulled up to the flea market. And I just pull everything out on Saturdays and Sundays and put it all back in. So that's kind of a hassle, but so I only do that probably once or twice a month. But so yeah.
You want to give people like a little bit of background, like of what you're all about, and
yeah. So I'm full-time Air Force, and they said I'm sitting finally because I'm always, when I'm on these live shows, I'm always moving around and stuff. So yeah, full-time Air Force, part-time picker, and so yeah, I go to. My main thing is storage auctions. I love cleaning out storage units and just finding all the treasures I can in there, and then trying to make as much as I can off of that investment. Thrift stores, yard sales, even sometimes I buy off of eBay and sell back on eBay or Amazon. My big thing right now is books. I've been scanning a lot of books into Amazon, sending those in, FBA. I bought my house specifically for eBay. I knew that I was going to be starting this business when I moved here I got stationed here from Japan. And I literally went on the market looking for a house that had plenty of garage space and extra storage space for something like this. And I'd never done eBay before or anything like that, but this is what I wanted to do. And it's working out pretty well. I've got about 1,000 square feet or so between this garage right here and then my detached 2-car garage. I live in Goldsboro, North Carolina. I've been stationed here for about a year and a month now. I'm originally from Huntington, West Virginia. Any of you football fans out there, that movie We Are Marshall with Matthew McConaughey, I can see that stadium from my house, and actually right, you can't really see it, but right there, that's actually the stadium. That's a big panoramic photo of the stadium. Wish I could show that a little bit closer, but so yeah, that's the gist of it. I'm sure we'll go through a little bit here and there of things. A lot of people ask me when I started selling. I've been selling pretty much for as long as I can remember. And that, I mean, I literally would get in trouble at other kids' houses for trying to do trading around with their kids and whatnot, and like trying to sell them things and buy things from them, even back when I was like 10. And then when I was 14 or 15, I started messing with repairing phones, iPhones and stuff. I'd go to school and fix people's phones, and I'd also sell phones. I'd sell like Xboxes. I used to go and buy packs of gum from Walmart and go to school and sell them individually. Yeah, I've always been into that, and it doesn't really spawn from anyone's, teaching me or anything or being around anyone. It just kind of happened. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really cool to see how many different resellers I've come across that have actually gone to school, like selling candy and gum and stuff like that. Because I used to sell candy and stuff at school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to have my mom take me to this like mom and pop store on the way to school, and I'd pick up a whole bunch of candy and I'd be slanging it to everybody in my homeroom.
Yeah, yeah, that was the big one for me. In homeroom, I'd have a bunch of people expecting me to have something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
scooping up all that extra lunch money.
So you guys were the candy man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sold some CDs and DVDs back in the day when CDs were actually cool, and people like making the mixed CDs and all that type of thing. So that's what I used to do. Even though that's probably not really allowed to do, but hey, in my early days.
Has it been more than 7 years?
Oh yeah.
When you're past the statute of limitations in Pennsylvania.
Brandon, you said you're from West Virginia. You're not too far from us from where you are, born and raised originally.
Yeah. So the part of West Virginia that I'm at, it's in the tri-state area of Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia. I mean, I literally, I could see Ohio from my house. So, because I lived up on a hill, and yeah, I could just see Ohio, and if I think I could probably see Kentucky as well. I didn't go. I think I've been to Pittsburgh a couple of times, but because my family, they're Pittsburgh fans, Steelers.
Smart people.
Right.
Yeah, and a couple of them are Penguins fans as well. I don't know if you follow hockey as much, but
yeah.
But yeah, I love sports. I played in high school, but when it comes to watching, I don't keep up with it. If there's a game on, then yeah, I'll watch because I enjoy watching the game. It's just something I don't really keep up with.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I grew up in Huntington, West Virginia. It's pretty it's a pretty even split between like from where I've lived. I mean, I lived like 6 or 7 places growing up. We just moved around a lot, just within that area. I mean, I lived in the suburbs for 4 or 5 years. I lived way out in the country for 4 or 5 years, and then I lived in the city for 4 or 5 years. So I've had a little bit of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you're on the far end of West Virginia,
right?
If you're over by Kentucky, and I'm guessing near Cincinnati, because that's like right across the bridge from Kentucky.
Yeah, so I'm 3 hours from Cincinnati, and I used to go to Cincinnati a lot. Well, not a crazy amount, but just more so than I would have went to like Pittsburgh or that area. So I've had, I used to go to Reds games in the summer, and yeah. So other than reselling, some of my hobbies are I love to fish. I'm big into fishing. I can't wait till March comes around and the bass start spawning. Sports, and honestly, I have way too many hobbies. A lot of it reselling is just to support my bad spending habits with all my hobbies.
Yeah, understandable.
I think that's with a lot of people. That's how like they became, started, was collecting or having a hobby that involved, something that they enjoyed that they're looking for, and then reselling just kind of came with it. I hear a lot of people that, they'll have like this immense like video game collection or comic book collection or, whatever, and the reselling just came a part of it because now that supports, what you're doing and everything. So I think that's pretty cool. How long have you been buying and doing the storage lockers? Like, how often do you usually buy one?
Let's see. I can pull up how many ones I've bought. I think whenever I looked up last, I think I've had like about 13 or so since I've been here, and I've been here about 13 months. So I average about one a month.
Cool.
But there was one time I actually bought 4 at one time. They all closed at the same time, and boy, was that was a fun week. Yeah. Luckily, I knew the lady I'd had experience with her before, the manager, and she was really nice about it. She let me keep like 3 out of the 4 open for about a week or 2 without charging me anything, and then she let me consolidate it all into one, and then she gave me like 80% off for my first month. So I was able to slowly get them out, and that's what I usually tell people whenever they ask well, I don't have a lot of room for storage units, or it's hard for me to get the work done before in the 3 days that they try to get you to get it out. Is most places will actually let you rent it for a month a lot cheaper than the original price, just so you can slowly get that stuff out. And that that's an awesome. And I was talking to somebody about having like a little business model like that, like running, if you had like a little portable setup, like literally just going from storage unit to storage unit to storage unit, and just like having your little workshop out of there, from each one that you buy. It's just a thought, but I'd considered that at one point before I got the house, of course. But yeah, I've been doing it about 13 months. When I was over in Japan, I think the picture that you have on here, it shows me with my flea market setup in the background and the Japanese all around it. I used to go to the thrift stores on base and the thrift stores off base, and then when people would leave, they would only have a certain weight allowance that they could have going from overseas location to overseas location. I think it was like 8. It just depends. The Air Force had the most. I think we had like 8,500 pounds. But then the Marine Corps, they had like, I want to say like 3,000 pounds, even for like having several family members. And so because of that, they would buy a lot of stuff while they were there, and then they would dump all the stuff before they left, or they'd try to sell it real quick on Marketplace. And so there was plenty of times I'd go and clean people's houses out for them, because that's another thing. The Japanese are very particular about their the way that their rental properties are. So I would go over and I'd clean the whole place out for them, and it would help them out. And, I'd get all kinds of good stuff. And then the Japanese, I would go to the flea markets on the weekend, and the Japanese would go crazy over American stuff. Like Levi's, they love Levi's. Same thing with our old uniforms. They love those. And so, there was one weekend, I think I made $1,100 just selling junk that I'd gotten. Almost zero investment. That was the good thing about that. Only thing I had to pay for was there was a storage unit that I had to pay for out there. But, so.
Reseller King asks if did you buy the storage locker that they're on Flipping Particle Show for $20?
I did. And at first whenever I was there, I was kind of, I just thought, this is probably just a mediocre one. I had two nice printers that were in there that sell for about 70 or 80 a piece. There was a desktop computer that was an older one that some of those older computer parts, especially if they're made for gaming, people like to collect them, and they make older setups so that they can play older games, because it's like a nostalgic thing for them. So I figured some of those parts in there might be worth money. But other than that, there was just there's a lot of books. There was like 10 things of books, and I was like, well, I usually do okay sending it to Amazon, but there's a lot more on Amazon that get rejected for FBA than there are that get accepted.
Right.
So, I'm sitting here like, well, it's just going to be kind of a hassle at this point, but I'm going to do it because, I've already got it. I've already got a good system with these books. I got my scanner, and I've got, I've got Scout IQ I paid for. But holy crap! When I went through all those books, the person that had the locker, they were they were a history major, and they actually worked on a committee for a museum. So every single one of those books were really good history books, and some of them were even history textbooks. And I am about halfway through scanning all of them, and I see you got right here these three right here are rejections, but all those lined up right there are all accepted. And I have the minimum that I will profit from those are $2 a piece, and even at that, that's like $200-300 probably right there if that were the case. However, those are really good history books on FBA. They seem to do really, really good, because I've had, I think, a little over 15 or 20 of those were $20 or $30 profit. So that lot right there might be closer to like $1,000. So yeah, I was sitting there scanning last night. I was just so happy scanning, and I would just get, $20, $30, 15. I had one that was 65.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, and I only had a $40 it went up to $40. Reseller King, he was asking, because it was at like $20, and I thought that I could get it for that, but someone did get a little bit of a bidding war on me. But the cool thing about those, I don't know if Anthony, I think you've done it before, haven't you? The storage treasures.
Yeah, I have. I've never actually won one, but I've bid on plenty of them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know like how the reserve works for like whenever you're bidding the $10 increment thing. So like for instance, like this person bid $10, and I knew that I would pay up to X amount. So I bid like, I think it was I put $110 on it because I was excited about the little pontoon awning that was in there, but turned out that thing was pretty rotted out. Anyway, so if you bid $110, right?
Yeah.
They bid that $10. So what the system's gonna do is gonna tell the person that bid that you bid $20. And then once they bid $30 or $40 or $50, it's gonna go $10 above that until it meets your $110. So the good thing about that is you might like bid all that money that you bid your threshold. That's the way I do it. You build like up to $110, and then it'll keep on matching them immediately as soon as they start bidding, and usually that scares people off. But
Yeah.
you won't actually pay that 110. You'll end up paying 40 or 50, which it really works pretty well like that.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah. And I was worried at first because I saw that someone did that, and I was like, well, if I bid like up to that, like I was just afraid that it was going to be like, well, boom, you just bid $110. They have to go above that, and then I was just going to be stuck paying $100 and some dollars. But now I've been doing that ever since I've been on storage treasures, and that's been my strategy, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, I think moving forward, that's something that we're going to want to check out for sure is storage lockers, and especially the ones on the south side, man. Those couple lockers that we looked at look really good.
I couldn't suggest it. I couldn't. I can talk about it all day. I mean, some of the things that I found, and for the amount of money that I've invested, I mean, my worst one, but I still make. I think I still doubled my money on it. I paid It was literally the first one I did, and I was just so excited, and I was very prideful about it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna win this auction. I bid $390 on it, and that's the most I've ever spent. And and honestly, how that one has worked, it's just been kind of like one of those things that just keeps on giving. Like I still have things from it, and I was very ignorant with how eBay worked then, so I just went for things that I was like, oh, I've seen this sell. Oh, there's a calculator. I know calculators sell. Things like that. And then I'll be watching a video, and someone will be like, hey, you know that these car manuals sell. And I'm like, holy crap, I had 100 or not 100. It was like it's like 20 or 30 of those car manuals were in, like there was like a box of them in there. And I started posting those, and I sold those left and right for like $10 a piece. And that was from that $390 deal. Like I said, they had just been sitting on my shelf. And that's honestly, like I said, I'm still pulling from that same unit that I bought. Yeah. November 17th, 2018. So yeah, a little over a year ago. Yeah, I've purchased actually 14 storage units. I'm looking at them all right now. But yeah, I highly encourage people to do storage units. And like I said, it is, it can be kind of overwhelming, especially if you're just doing it yourself. And like when it comes to like heavier items, I've had those big, huge CRT TVs, like the big ones that are their own piece of furniture. And, I can't carry that by myself. It doesn't matter how, creative I get, because they're just heavy and awkward. The weight is weirdly distributed. So I definitely had to get help with that. But all in all, you can always find a kid somewhere around to jump in and pay him, $10-$20 to help you with a couple loads. So I always suggest people doing it. It's just, like I said, it is a lot of work. And optimally, you'd want to have room. It doesn't always work out to like have just pay for the storage unit, because you never know, you might go through all that stuff and it just looked really good, but it didn't have as much as what you would think. I mean, I've only had like one, I think it was like either one or two that I was like, I could have lived without doing those again. But most of them, I mean, I do pretty good. You just have to be creative. And then with me having my flea market, a lot of the stuff I find in there are just things that are either, they're too heavy to realistically ship and they're just not worth a lot. Like, just standard silverware, like, no, I can't really go on there and sell like, dollar store silverware on eBay. I mean, no one's, it's just not worth the time at that point. But at the flea market, I mean, I'll take all that stuff and I just put it in a big tote and then I dump it on a table whenever I go there. And I have people just come up and just pick like 4 forks and a spoon and I'll sell that for $1. And it's like, well, why not? Yeah. And same thing with flea markets. I highly encourage doing that. Not just for the fact that you're, going to make money. It's also because if you're there, other people are probably there setting up, and I've gotten some really good things from flea markets. I mean, typically people upcharge them a little bit, but honestly, this is how I do it. I always look for the most like unexperienced, like amateur looking flea market person to just like looks like they're just selling their junk like a yard sale, and I do pretty well finding people like that. Other people are like selling their stuff like it's an antique mall, but.
I know that Nate and I are planning to partner up together and grab a storage unit or two sometime soon.
Yeah.
The good thing is, Nate, you remember the guy I was telling you about I used to have help me with like heavier stuff?
Right.
He just got released like
last
week. So, I mean, I'm probably going to feel him out before I use him again. But so that's at least extra help.
Yeah.
Cheap help.
For sure. I mean, I have somebody that is my like handyman. Like I had my furnace go out Christmas Eve, and I called him up, and he got here, and literally 5 minutes later, my furnace is running, and it cost me $20. So, yeah, I got a guy that will do like cheap labor, just very handy, doing different things for me or whatever the case is, which. It saved me tons of money. So,
yeah,
I think they were going to charge me. I called like the local heating and cooling place. They were trying to charge me $130 just to come out, because I called them at like right after the show. I think it was about 11:30 or 12 o'clock, and they were like, "Well, this is overtime now." I'm like, "Well, why is it overtime? It's not like 4 o'clock or whatever." They're like, "Well, because it's a holiday." And I was like, oh, okay, that's reasonable. I was like, well, what's your charge? And they're like, well, it's like they charged me like double for everything. So luckily I didn't need to do that.
This is asking you if you find that you make better profits on eBay or at the flea market.
Oh, hands down eBay. Yeah, you can't. I'm not saying you can't, because the guy that owns the flea market that I go to, it's a new flea market and it's a new investment for him. And he's actually, we're pretty good friends. We go back. He sells things pretty well, as like, he has like a really nice area where he sells things that are like, vintage antiques and whatnot. And then he does make eBay type, priced like things. Like he does sell things, in that eBay, however you would say it. I'm lost for word on that. So he does make, he makes eBay profits on items at the flea market, but they're few and far between. People that are there, that he has to have that certain collector come around and look for that vintage Pyrex, or look for that, collectible Star Wars figure that, he sells those. But so all in all, like I'm not saying I'm not going to suggest that, because I do have, and I'll actually pull that up. I'll pull up some of the, and I'll screen share if that's okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Show y'all.
Yeah, for my opinion, being a flea market seller as well, like I find eBay, you make so much more money, especially on your run of the mill items.
Mm-hmm.
Just because everybody wants a deal.
Yeah, that'd be like my whole thought of like flea markets is like, basically like you could buy something for way cheaper than you would, anywhere else. that's my mindset, even as a non-reseller, before I start really, reselling and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, if okay, so if every day at the flea market was a summer day or a summer Saturday, then yes, I think that I could probably, I mean, honestly, the sky's the limit with that, honestly, because there's so many people that come through especially where he has his, it's on the side of a highway. And I mean, there's so much traffic that goes through there. And I haven't even been there in the summer. I moved because my trailer used to be out here. I haven't shown it in a video or anything. But it's actually my dad's trailer, but I'm slowly buying it from him. It's a 32-foot by 8-foot by 7.5, and it's a big car. I couldn't even pull it with my trailer. I had to pay someone like $100 and some to pull it because it's a gooseneck, and my truck does not have a gooseneck hitch. But yeah, I had to pull that with all my and I'd been like building up to like go to the flea market. I'd just been shoving stuff. I mean, it's full. I'll pull up a picture in a second, but so yeah, I'd been actually doing yard sales here, and even then I'd been doing the summer days of yard sale. Like people would come out here, and I mean, I would make easily about $300 every time, every day. So I mean, that wasn't bad. But I know that if I was at the flea market, it probably would have been closer to about 500. And if I could continue with the storage unit cleanouts, and then just pull all that stuff, and like he said, the death pile items that you can only get $10 for, yeah, those go great there. And I would get stuff like that all the time, and then I just, like I said, I would just sell it at my yard sale. But then I knew I was going to go to the flea market eventually, and so like I said, as soon as I did, even and that I went there the first time I think in like mid-November. So it was slowing down in that regard from fall. But yeah, I know that if every day was like a Saturday, like, oh yeah, I mean, I have no problem making $300-400 off of like things like these little things that I hardly have anything invested into. I have no problem doing that a day. But is that realistic? No. Like it's just something that I can do Saturdays and Sundays, and when spring comes, oh yeah, I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be out there probably every weekend, and I'll probably end up hiring someone that I can have consistently out there, and just teach them how I do things and whatnot.
Like sometimes as a say you're buying storage lockers, every week or every month or every 2 weeks or whatever the case is, and you're going to these flea markets and people get used to you and now they're looking for you at the flea market. That's a great way to build your brand as a person moving forward, because those are ways you can give out business cards and really network with your clientele or your customers, like saying, hey, here's my card. If you're ever looking for something specific, give me a call. I can I might have it for you, or I might be able to get it for you, or I'm doing a yard sale at my house this and this day, or you have Facebook that you can put up like updates to what's going on with different sales at different locations. So if you can really build that part of it, and so like say for example, like you buy like 4 lockers in 2 weeks, say you bring all that stuff to the flea market, you sell all the stuff that's not like really really high dollar, but you sell like say $20 and under, you sell that stuff and leave the other stuff for eBay. This way you're really churning a lot of items and making a lot of profit really quick, so you can keep buying more lockers to really boom the business and really grow it pretty quick. But if I was doing that, that would be like my focal thing. It was like just getting that base of people that when they come to the flea market, they want to stop at your place first, because they know who knows what this guy's going to have. He has all kind of cool stuff. He has vintage, he has electronics, he has all this cool stuff, where you see some people they'll have kind of like some older tools, or you'll see the vendors that have like the bags from overseas or whatever the case is. So if you can get that market space and that reputation for yourself, you can really do pretty well.
Oh yeah, That's exactly what I do. I mean, I'll go there and I'll tell people, yeah, Alexa asked, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, I was about to say that. Some of the things, and I'll give an example. I have a picture of it right here. So yeah, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, it's like I look at something and I can tell, like, I know I can sell it somewhere. Almost everything someone's going to buy, but where am I going to sell it? Is it worth me selling on eBay, or is it worth me throwing into that big pile that I have to go to the flea market? And that's the good thing about having all those different ways that you're going to sell things. But Facebook Marketplace is really good. And a lot of the things you can sell at Facebook Marketplace, you can sell at the flea market.
Right.
But Facebook, certain things, it doesn't make sense for me. Okay, perfect example. So I'm you can't really see the thing right here, but I have a Jeep flag right here. I love Jeeps. Before I was doing like whenever I was in Okinawa, I had a Jeep Cherokee and a Jeep Wrangler, both like 90s models. One of them was actually a Japanese model, and the basically like I love doing Jeep stuff. But whenever I left, I kind of got myself into a little bit of a pickle with that. The inspection things when it comes to American spec vehicles over there, even though the Cherokee was a Japanese release one, I had American style like lift kit on it. I had American style like everything on it. But because of that, I couldn't get it inspected. I couldn't get it to pass, and therefore I couldn't bring it back home, which sucks because I mean I dumped about $10,000 between the Wrangler and the Cherokee, and the Wrangler is literally still there. I have it parked at a buddy's house in Okinawa, Japan, and I sell parts on Facebook Marketplace off of it like once every 2 months, and it's just on there like consistently. So, but yeah, no. So because of that, I literally was like, I had a lot of room on my ship. Like I said, the Air Force, we get the most weight limit allowance coming back. And I literally sold all my furniture off. And with the intent of doing what I'm doing now, I literally just loaded up on inventory. Like I had all my flea market stuff. I did not get rid of any of that. I got just cleaned a bunch of people's houses out. And then I literally I knew that the amount of money it would take for me to get my Jeep inspectable would be just insane. So I was like, I'm going to start pulling these Japanese parts off of here so that I can sell them in the States. Cause I don't know if y'all have probably seen them, the postal Jeeps, they're right-hand side drive. So, and the parts for those are very difficult to find. And just like in Japan, they're right-hand side drive. So I pulled everything off. Like I pulled the whole gate, like the whole dash off, because it's all, every piece is different. Different than the left-hand side drive version. I pulled like all the basically all the electronics out of there. I pulled all the interior pieces, the part of the motor. I pulled like the whole top of the motor off. Like everything on the top, and everything that's like modular except for the block. Anyway, so going on and on, I didn't mean to go off on a rant with that, but so the bumper, I had a brand new bumper I bought for that, and so that thing is, I think it weighs 170 pounds. I literally waited until I saw an airman that was coming to Okinawa and bought it and shipped it to his house so that he could get it on his shipment, because me shipping it to Okinawa would have been, I think, like $600 or $700 for a $500 bumper. So anyway, I now have that here because I never put it on my Jeep, and I cannot sell that. There's no way I'm selling that on eBay. That thing is like the amount of shipping I would do, it just would be a pain. And for things like that, for those bigger, parts, it's definitely great to sell on Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, I definitely went off on a huge rant with that. My bad.
Oh, you're fine.
But I used to love my Jeeps. My Jeeps were like my thing. That was my priority. But now, of course, it's eBay and Amazon.
Yeah, like Alexa said, this is a rant safe place. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, no.
This is your show, bro. Ran away.
Yeah, that was my face all, with the sun in my eyes and looking all good. That's all good.
You can also put up items on there and have it for pickup only, like local pickup only on eBay too.
I've never done that.
I've done 2 local, buys or whatever, where I didn't have them initially set up for that, but they messaged me saying, hey, I live really close. I'd like to save on shipping. Can I pick this up from you? And, I'm thinking to myself, can I even do this? Is this allowed? So I called eBay, and they said that you can do that. You just have to make sure that they leave positive feedback before they leave, because without that, then they can say, well, you never shipped me the item, you never got this, I never got
I was
So
wondering how that works. So yeah, like you said, you have them leave a feedback.
yeah, you have them leave make sure they leave positive feedback, and you can set the listing to local or pickup only. So, like, say for example, someone did want to buy your bumper and they needed it really bad. They can either set up their own shipping and just pay you online, like through eBay, because all the transactions, no matter what, I still do them through eBay. Like the person who did that, who bought that Melissa and Doug pasta, whatever. It was like for like a kitchen set or whatever. It was like a pasta set with the, like the things that look like pasta boxes and whatever. He wanted to pick it up. I said sure. So I just met him at we met up at Giant Eagle. He picked it up, and it was pretty easy, other than having to find him or whatever. But as long as he left that positive feedback, gave him the item, no issues. You have nothing to worry about. Moving forward after that. So it having that feedback basically protects you from all the scamish things that can happen. So. But he can also they can also set up pickup, like they can have a trucking company, pull up and tell them like, hey, like you're on your own, like getting this on your truck or whatever when you're picking this up. So make sure you have like either the right tools or the right you have enough people to be able to lift this thing. I'll try to give you a hand, but I don't have like 5 or 6 people on standby to do this or whatever. So I'm sure that bumper's pretty heavy, depending on what kind it is.
Yeah, it has a tire carrier built onto it. It's solid steel welded. Has a trailer hitch built into the bumper that's rated up to like, I think 8,000 pounds or something like that. Big, huge locking mechanism that like locks it into place when it just swings out with the tire carrier, so that you can open your hatch and then it locks back in. It's not even, it's in the box. It's in the original box with like the big straps around it. I've never opened it. I hope it's the right one. It'd suck if I sold one to them and then they get it and it's a big like I don't know, just for something completely different or whatever, because how people sometimes mess things up on SKUs and whatnot.
Right.
That would suck. Sure. Imagine me trying to call into Amazon and being like, hey, I bought this from you 4 years ago and it turned out to be the wrong part. What do you do in that situation? But yeah, I've had it posted. I've had a couple people be interested in it, but
they'd still take it back.
Well, yeah, it is Amazon in it, so I wouldn't do that though, because it was a third party seller. So I know I'd be pissed if someone just 4 years later is like, hey, I never opened this, but yeah, I'm gonna need my money back, or odds are the person doesn't even sell on Amazon anymore.
No, it'd be the person that opened it 4 years ago, used it in their vehicle, and then it blew, and then now they want a refund.
Yeah, they're going through all the receipts, like, hey, can you return this spark plug? But yeah. Do y'all do anything with vehicles? You've ever like had like a certain vehicle where you're just crazy about and you worked on it, or?
No, not me. I'm not a car guy at all.
I worked in my dad's body shop for a summer when I was a kid, but really, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of grunt work in it.
Yeah, I'm more of a tech guy where, computers and stuff, where automotive, I have no idea. Like, anytime something happens in my car, I call my guy, and he comes and does it for the cheap price for me. So yeah. I don't mind, having him do that. It makes me not even like want to think about even trying to do it myself or watch a YouTube video or anything, because it's $20 or so and it's done. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, no, if you can, yeah, that's like with me. I used to, because this whole like selling thing kind of spawned from like my, I guess, rebellious independence that I wanted to have as a kid. Like, it's like my dad offered to get me a truck whenever I was a kid. And I literally told him no. I was like, I do not want you to buy me a vehicle. And I said, I don't want you to be able to tell me what to do with it. That's all. And that's exactly what I said. And And because of that, he never got me a vehicle. He offered, he had one like picked out for me and everything. But I just didn't want that. So, I mean, I traded up. My first vehicle was my grandmother was about to junk this old van, and I literally got that vehicle. It was going to be like $200-300 at the scrapyard. But I can't remember what I did. It's something really simple. I looked up on YouTube, tried to figure out what was wrong with it, fixed it like marginally, and then sold that for $1,000. And then I bought a dirt bike. Yeah, that's what it was. I bought a dirt bike. I bought and then I got into that scene, and then I traded my first dirt bike for another dirt bike, and then that dirt bike for another dirt bike, and then I traded that last dirt bike for my present Jeep, which I literally have sitting out here. And that's from my high school. I did all kinds of stupid crap in that, and money dumped like an idiot. But anyway, so yeah, and that's when I got my first vehicle, and that's when I like I said, it just it compounded into me just learning little by little about these things, and but that's a whole other thing. Vehicles, how well do a lug nut and bolts sell? Sure. Well, it depends. It just depends. I mean, they make really nice ones that are. Is it branded? Well, it's always going to be branded, or it's going to be an eBay special, as they say. But if it is, if it's the lug nuts that have like the little logos on them, like if it has a Mopar sticker on it, or it depends on what brand, what company it was from, or it has like GM on it or whatever, people will buy those. Or I don't know if I have them on here. I have a couple, but the like the little hubcaps that go into like GM trucks, you'll just have those little ones that are like this big, and they go right over the lug nut set. Like if you have a set of those, or just one, yeah, you definitely sell those. But when it comes to just the lug nut set, eBay maybe. You'd have to figure out the thread count. So you have there's two different measurements. There's the thread spacing, and then the thread width. So the width of the actual stud. And so you'd have to see if you find out what that is. And I mean, maybe sometimes those are certain measurements are more rare than others. But they try to keep it as universal as possible between different makes. But yeah, you never know. I mean, you really never know. I don't think I've ever sold any. Well, I have sold some, but I've only sold them in like 3 or 4 increment at the flea market. So if anything, if you have the opportunity to go to the flea market, just throw it into that pile, and people will buy lug nuts left and right. Or if you get a collection, well, he said reseller king, which we are different. So everyone knows there's a resale king and then there's a reseller king. He said he sells lug nuts $9.99 each plus $3 shipping, and he said he sells a lot. So yeah, I mean, I'm no expert by any means. I know that pretty much any part of a car though will sell. People are always looking for car parts. Not even just people. When you go to your mechanic and you say something along the lines of, "Hey, I'm trying to get this, a little bit cheaper. What can you do for me?" They can at any time they can pull open their Crown Automotive book and they can buy it brand new. From Crown. Crown typically makes universal parts for almost any vehicle. Crown has made a part for them. So yeah, they have those manuals, and they can go through that, or they can go through the Nissan book or whatever, or the Mopar book for all of your Dodge and Chryslers, or they'll be like, they can go on eBay. I mean, I know plenty of shops that do that. I know plenty of shop owners that they go straight to eBay and they look for these parts. Which if you ever remember that too, if your vehicle ever has any issues and you have a mechanic that is giving you some crazy prices, you can always buy it yourself on eBay. You just look for the item number, and then just buy it yourself and have them put it on.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, every single part on a car, it's just like, I think Nate, was that you that was saying that you knew someone that buys cars and parts them out?
Yeah, they'll actually buy wrecked cars or whatever that has say the transmission's okay, and the motor and some of the other parts is just is okay, and say it was the side door was hit, or the engine went bad or whatever. So they'll look at everything else and go, okay, well, I can take the door off, I could take the mirrors off, I could take the lights off, I could take the tranny out, I could take the hubcaps off. Basically they strip it down to every part imaginable, and they look at them to make sure that they're in decent shape to resell, and then they actually throw them online, and then So it's basically like almost like a chop shop, but legal. And then,
Yeah.
they sell each part.
Yeah. No, I can't talk about that enough. I mean, just knowing from what I've, some of the things that I've done with my Jeep, and I mean, because of course, it's lifted, it's got the big tires on it. I've went off road with it. I don't know how many times. I have videos of me literally like jumping it off of, getting airtime with it, and when I came down, I actually broke the seats out of it because I had 6 people in the thing at once, and it just it ripped the seats out of the well. So yeah, anyway, all I'm saying is I used to break stuff all the time, and seeing some of the stuff I'd have to buy. I mean, just like, and some of it's just goofy how much that they charge for it. It just doesn't. It almost doesn't make any sense. Some of these little pieces that it's like, I guess it's just because they made it specifically for that vehicle, or they made it for a wide range of vehicles, but then just didn't make a lot of stock in it. But for some reason, some of these parts, just little stupid things in your interior, just a little shroud that goes over your what's it called, your seatbelt thing, that's different in every vehicle. You probably sell just that little shroud for $15-20. Visors, I have my Jeep visors from Okinawa, and they sell for $100 used, and I mean that was 2 bolts, screw it off, and boom. I mean that's all it'll be. Yeah, he grew up in the auto salvage business.
Yeah. He said if he had more space, I would be buying cars left and right and parcing them out. Yeah, I mean, if you have, that might even be something that I possibly look into doing. I mean, because I have a lot of space in a warehouse. It's just like, I told my dad, I says, man, just come in business with me. We'll be golden, because I have so many things that we could do, and it's a lot more profitable, and different markets and stuff, instead of relying on the one that he's working with, which is shrinking every day. Where it is more profitable. But one thing that I want to ask you is, me and Anthony are new into storage lockers.
Okay.
And what are some things that you would give us as advice, being someone that has never bought one, but have some knowledge in reselling? So but what would you give us some information?
Right. Okay. So I've actually tried to watch people that are that do it, and they throw out these little tips every once in a while that are kind of like, it's kind of like you kind of analyze the way the locker looks and compare it to like people's habits. It's like how people do things, and you can kind of tell. Like, it's kind of funny, like looking at it. And Storage Wars even helped me on a couple things. You even you'll have like those guys that are like, hey, you see that right there? You see how the boxes are open? Or, another thing, and this is not 100%. I don't put my name on this. However, it does make sense. If you look, whenever they have to take someone's unit, whenever they, it's not like, they call the person like, hey, I need you to come in and give us your key, and because we're about to take your unit until you pay. No, that's not how it works. They go there with a cutoff wheel, they cut the lock off, and a lot of companies will actually kick the lock back in to the storage unit just to show that it had a lock on it and it was secure. No one was in there messing around. I'm assuming, I'm not 100% sure. But if you look at the pictures, you can see that there was a lock in there, right? If you see that there's like 3 or 4 locks in there, well, that means that they've literally had this problem multiple times, and I've had that happen. And then you can kind of make your own assumptions on what has happened. So if you see that there's 3 or 4 locks in there, and just like they said on Storage Wars, if you see that the box are all open, they look like they've been like ransacked, more than likely they've taken all the good stuff out and then just instead of paying all their bills off, they just let them take it. Because how it works is, a lot of people don't notice the lien laws, and I think it's every state that does this. The company cannot make any money off of the locker. So I've seen several times where I've seen literally whole vehicles in lockers. And I don't know why these people wouldn't pay for it. I mean, everyone has their problems. But they don't pay for it. And then they have there's motorcycles, vehicles in there. And so these storage lockers get up to, several $1,000s. And then it gets to the point where, it sells. And then here's what they do. They take that money, they pay off what was owed on the locker, if it'll even cover the whole thing. Sometimes it won't. I mean, I guarantee over half of the ones that I've got, the company literally lost money on. But they pay it off and then they send the money back to the owner, which is kind of weird. It would seem like, hey, you snooze, you lose, but I guess legally they have to. So I guess what a lot of people do is they'll make it look like it's a good locker. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll make it look because they know that people are going to be auctioning on it. So, if they had like, how many times I found PS4 and Xbox boxes and nothing in them? Several times. And I don't, like I said, I'm just making my own assumptions. I don't know if that's because of them trying to stage it to look like it, but, and I had a joke with one of my buddies, like, wouldn't it be funny just to get all my like boxes of like stuff and just like make my own storage locker and like then not pay it. And then so that it would go up to like, over $1,000 and then I would get the money back on it. But obviously that would be absolutely terrible. I would never do that because I know I'd be mad if I had that happen to me. But yeah, so that's how it works. So that's one tip I can tell you is maybe look for those if it looks like it's been opened and like, sifted through, because then that means maybe they took all the good things. Now I have went through a locker that I know they went through. I could tell, but I still made money on it. Because a lot of people in like with us, the more you do this job doing reselling, the more it's hard to look at something and not see value in it, especially when you do things like you diversify, kind of like what I do with the flea market. Like you'd be hard pressed to find something that I threw away that was not either A, like broken beyond repair, B, like molded beyond, any sort of cleaning, or just, like I've found bags of trash from people, I guess, cleaning out their house or whatever. Other than that, I collect everything and I just put it into bins and I'm like, well, let's take it to the flea market. And if it doesn't sell for a long period of time, and it really doesn't look like it's going to sell, maybe I'll take it out. But for the most part, man, the amount of crap people will buy when they're immediately right there at the flea market, they don't have to like check out or anything. Like I'm just trying to use the psychological thought process behind it, but people are impulsive with stuff. It's like, oh, it's only a quarter. Well, I think I could use it maybe one time. Like, I don't know. And so people will buy things like super cheap, and those small transactions, they add up. This last time I went, I didn't even sell any of my I have a couple big ticket items, if you could call it that. Like I have a couple stereos there, house stereo, and I have a couple of like audio equipment. I have and I got those in storage units. Big like DJ what the heck are they, soundboard. So I have a couple of soundboards that are just kind of cheap, and I couldn't even test them. Like when they turned on, but I didn't have all the stuff to test them, so I sold them as is. But anyway, so all the other things, most of the things that I sold on this last time were all like $5 and under. So like, a lot of small transactions, but I still made $365, I think it was, just for one day. And I'm not saying it's tax-free because I do take log of all this stuff, and because we could talk about that all day too, taxes, what, plans for everyone, if y'all wanted to get into that later. But so I always record what I made. But what I'm getting at is it's like there's no immediate like wait time or anything. There's no immediate. That's just raw cash, like right to you. And it's so that's always nice. Like how many? I know some of us might be to the point where we're making $200 or $300 a day on eBay, but I know it's not every day for me. Some days it is. I've had that, but it's nice to go to the flea market because I know almost every time since I've been at that flea market, I've made at least $200. So that, it's worth my time. I'll stay there for 8 or 10 hours sometimes. $20 an hour. And a lot of it's passive. I'll sit there and work really hard getting it spread out real nice for 2 or 3 hours. So, let me ask you all this. If you were to do the storage units, would you have any plan to potentially sell at flea markets?
Yeah, I would do both.
Yeah. Well, then honestly, like, the fact that you will do the flea market like that opens up a lot more potential profit for the storage units. Let me try to think of some other things. Okay, so when you find clothes, you will find clothes in storage units. Oh, they will need to be cleaned almost every single time. I mean, they're almost always like super. Now you have your temperature controlled places. You do have those, but the clothes are going to they're going to smell. Like they have a pretty, and it just depends on where they were at. If they were in like a corner that had like a drafty area or whatever, I mean, I've had them to where they're literally growing mold very, very aggressively. And yeah, I just couldn't see it until I opened up the bag. Yeah, they're always nasty. I know y'all don't sell clothes too much, right?
I sell some clothing.
But not like a whole lot of it, just because it bores me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I just like got back into it because I started getting an accumulation of like clothes that I knew they're worth money, but that's just a whole other thing. Like dealing with the measurements, dealing with trying to keep them clean, keep them like photography on clothing is such a different animal in itself. But there's a lot of money in clothes, and there's a lot of knowledge to be learned with clothes. So honestly, I've kind of opened it back up to myself because I feel like it was a big opportunity miss, especially because of some of the clothes I found in storage units and hardly any investment. And they do sell at the flea market though. Clothes do sell. As long as you have them organized, that's the main thing. I mean, I made a mistake of like going there with like bins of clothing. Not that it's a mistake. I have sold things out of it, but it seems like people do. If they see something that is nicely displayed at the flea market clothing wise, it's a lot better looking obviously than it just being all jumbled up into a storage bin. But let me try to think of some other things that I would say about storage units. Now this is something that we've been back and forth, me and Josie, my girlfriend, because she of course helps me clean them out. And now that she quit her job and is working for me with all this stuff, she has been doing it like every time for the past 2 or 3 units. We were kind of considering like, hey, should we go through the stuff and sort the trash while we're there, or should we take it all to another location, sort it out there? That's debatable because it's like, do you want to double handle it? But then also, how much time do you have to clean it out? And then, that's the main thing. Like it does take a lot more time. And then, you might get burnt out from being there, being bored as heck at the storage unit for hours trying to sift through all this stuff. Cause I mean, you don't realize how much stuff is in there at first. Your first unit, you're going to be like, oh, well, that'll take like but you might get a really small one. So I can't really speak on that. But like my first unit was a 5x10. And holy crap, I did not realize how much stuff was in there. I mean, I thought it was like, yeah, I mean, I've got my truck. That's like one trip, maybe. But no, it took me 3 or 4 trips. And the amount of just individual things that were just shoved in there, the amount of things you pull out and try to sort at one time, it can take a long time. So if I think of anything, I can't really think of anything else tip wise, but if I think of anything, I'll definitely bring it back up.
Yeah, with doing the sorting and the going through it at the locker. I mean, it would be, I guess, if you're doing content, like if you're doing pre-recorded content, people love seeing stuff getting uncovered in the locker because then it looks like you're not staging or making your video look fake or anything like that. Yeah. 2, you have the space as well, because if you're bringing it all just back into your place, if you don't have the space and you're bringing all the junk, then you're kind of almost doing double the work. In other words, if you're sorting it there at the facility, you can go straight to the dump with it and get rid of it, and and then bring the rest of the stuff is your good stuff that you're bringing home. So I mean, there's multiple variations of my opinion on
and it honestly, it really does, because you might know that there's all good stuff in there. It's like which I didn't mean to interrupt you if I did. I don't know if you were going to continue.
Oh no, you're fine.
So I believe I've told both of you on another show. I'm actually going to share this one if I can find it again. Let's see. Cube Smart. Give me 1 second on this. I'm looking for a unit that I got. And I actually got it like about a year ago, almost a year ago, and holy crap, have I done well with it. Let's see.
Yeah, if I was out in California, I mean, that is like the perfect area to run flea markets and do like kind of how I was talking about earlier, like, and just kind of making a name for yourself and where you're going to be and
Mhm.
build that brand, because you can do flea markets basically,
Yep.
365 in out in that area, which
That's what sucks about living in the Northeast is
yeah,
flea markets are so seasonal, and even like the ones that are really good, like the Rogers, Trader Jack's, that kind of stuff. Like I got to go a minimum of 45 minutes to even get to one. Number one, and then number two, like if the weather's not cooperating, like there's not going to be anybody. It's not going to be worth my, time to go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely a whole. I mean, living in West Virginia, we were in the same kind of area, like when it comes to weather. So yeah, it was the same for me. I mean, but when I was in high school, I used to go to the flea markets and like I'd go out there and like the dead of winter. But then again, I had I don't know. I just at that point, I just was trying to make money regardless. I didn't have eBay or anything like that. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go because I want to make this money. But now my time is definitely a lot more valuable to me. So the efficiency that I would have there in the winter, not selling maybe $50 a day, it's just not worth it, obviously, for me now. But being down in North Carolina, it's a little bit different now. It's a lot warmer, more times throughout the year. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be a challenge in that regard, because do you want to go through storage units in the winter, and then you're gonna have to either hold on to that stuff for when you want to go, and then do you have the storage for that, or are you gonna have to just dump stuff off, or are you gonna pay dump fees for this stuff, or are you gonna try to donate this stuff? I definitely see where if you don't have just rent like a bunch of just blank space to just throw this stuff into, then yeah, I'm sure it's so you have to be selective.
Yeah, that was one thing when me and Ash were talking about moving to Florida, especially down in the Orlando area. Like I've already found several flea market options where essentially they run 7 days a week. They have like indoor. It's not like a building, but it's like kind of like a big walk-through shed-looking type thing.
yeah, I've been there.
People from the elements and stuff like that. So they even have certain parts you can have air conditioning in there and whatnot. So like if I were to live in an area like that, I would just buy a little storefront inside the flea market and just keep restocking it every week with storage lockers and bins and stuff like that. And like that would probably turn into like my primary, and then I would just cherry pick everything for eBay and Amazon.
Yeah.
My goal would be like if I was in that similar situation and you knew about different flea markets going all over, my goal would be to get one location and then just actually spread, because that will easily increase your volume of cash flow that you'd have coming in and the items you'd be able to sell, because you'd be at all these different locations. And let's be honest, like when you're doing storage lockers, there is a lot of the items that maybe you wouldn't be able to get top dollar for to make it worthwhile on eBay, but there is a lot of stuff that is going to blow your mind off too. So having that ability to get rid of like a lot of these smalls and small dollar items at a very quick pace of all these different flea market stuff, especially the year-round situation, is it's so important to anybody who's doing a lot of buying like that. I mean, getting stuff for possibly 10 cents or 20 cents or whatever it could be, if you break it down per item throughout the whole locker and you're getting $10 an item, I mean, that's such amazing ROI that you're doing it over such a long period with so many items that you're able to pay for these people that you can have set up at your different locations and kind of just push the merch out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like you were saying, like $10 items. I mean, I just try to get this stuff gone. To be honest with you, I sell things mostly for like $1, $2, $3, and I'm sure if a lot of y'all came through and looked at my setup, you'd be like, why are you not selling this on eBay? Not that I could get, it's not like a huge seller, but I mean, I have items that easily I get $15 out of. It's just there's so much stuff that it's like, I need to move this stuff. Like it's not that there's no other option. The other option is, hey, stop buying storage units, stop sourcing. But in reality, I don't think any of us want to do that because that's the fun part. But so yeah, there's so many things that I have. Like here, I'll actually show this. This was on the flea market's Facebook group.
Yeah, like with depending on how much you're buying and how much you're going through, processing through, and everything, you want to almost get to a certain level of what your minimum item is, because every time you list an item, you're taking a lot of time out to picture it, process it, then you're shipping it, and so making sure that you're not just selling just any run of the mill, say $15 item, unless it's going to be like an instant sell where you have like multiples in stock or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you can't see all of it, but I mean, I have a lot of stuff. I mean, there's like a lot of these bins are full of stuff, and then this in here along the walls are I have like bookshelves full of books, and then I have clothing set up along right here, and I have more stuff inside. And then over here you can't see all the stuff down here, but then it goes all the way out. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Just a lot of inventory in that regard. I think
how big is that trailer?
30. So from 32 foot from the overhead cab type thing, the overhang to there, and then it's 8 foot wide. And then my dad actually got this custom built, so it's a little bit taller. Like you can see me, I'm 6'2", and it's like 7.5. So yeah, it's perfect. Like I love using it. I'm kind of underusing what it's actually for. I mean, that's a new. That's like a $16,000 trailer, and I'm just sitting here, selling crap out of it at the flea market. But it works for what I'm using it for. My dad was just letting it sit, so I mentioned it to him, and he wanted me to sell it at first, but I've just been paying him off little by little for it. So yeah, I love that trailer. But I can't even pull it with my truck. Like I said, I have a 1500 series Ram. I mean, it could technically pull it. I just don't have the hitch. I don't have the gooseneck that slides into the bed.
Right. That would be something I would definitely, if I was doing yard flea markets, I would definitely want to have is a monster trailer like that. I mean, think of how much stuff you're bringing. You're bringing a whole ton of good stuff with you to really show, and you're really taking, making the best of your opportunity with whoever's there, you know what I mean? So
yeah, here is the storage unit I was going to pull up. This is all fire hose.
Wow.
This is about 4,000 feet in total of fire hose. I bought that in January. I paid $10. You're seeing that, right? I paid $10 for that and about $7 in fees. And I had to drive an hour away to pick up all these, but it weighed my truck down. I went over a bump, and it's like I was almost like scratching the bottom of it. It was it was bogged down. I think for each foot, it's about close to a pound, maybe a little bit more. And like right there in the bed, it was a lot of weight. But I've done very well with these. I have right now, I think I have 3 of those to send out that I have to cut and send out. And I've sold them about $1 a foot, and I charge by the weight calculated shipping. And typically it's a little, I typically pocket a lot because I can fit 20 feet of that, and that's what I sell. That's typically the increments I sell. I can fit 20 feet in that in a 12 by 12 by 5, which ships cubic rate.
Yeah,
which saves me a lot of money, but I do not refund them the money because my handling time with that, every single hose is worth it, because I literally have to roll these things out, measure them, cut them, roll them back up tight enough to fit in there. Yeah, so I mean, I typically make about it's like, I think it's like $19.99 I have for a 20-foot section, and then I usually get about $15 to $20 from them to ship it, and then I usually ship it for about $10. So I usually pocket that 5 to 10. So after fees and everything, I probably make about $25 off of each. So a little bit over $1 a foot, and I have about 1,200 feet left out of the 4,000. So I mean, I've definitely made quite a bit off of that for a $10 investment. The main thing was my time, and it continues to be my time. So
Misha wants to know if you sold that trunk, and if so, for how much.
I did sell the trunk, and it was missing the locks. Both of the handles had been broken off, and like I said, the lock mechanism, I actually drilled it out because I couldn't get in there, and I didn't feel like getting a lockpick set. And the interior was messed up. I think I sold it for only 15. It wasn't that much. I probably could have got a little bit more if I would have, just been a little bit easier with it. But yeah, and I have this is a military crate right here, and I just got another military crate that's really cool. It's actually from, I want to say, the Korean War, and it has it's actually metal framed with some sort of like wooden, thick wood walls. But yeah, I sell a lot of military surplus. I love selling that stuff. The flea market, it sells pretty well. And I get
it. We're talking about this on the other another show. I never would have thought people take those fire hoses and actually cut them and do them for different craft projects, or I've seen someone had a koozie of with the fire department, or they use them for their straps on their trucks. So there's a lot of repurposing things that people use that for. So if you ever find any fire hoses for the cheap, you should definitely check it out, and you can sell it by the foot too. So it's like a mini bolo, I guess.
Well, it's a big bolo actually, because that's the bad thing about it, is that stuff is heavy.
Yeah.
And they're typically in 50 or 100-foot sections. And if you ever find them with the couplers on them, then yeah, that's money. Because a lot of people use them for, so like they'll use the ones with the couplers on there for like photo props. So for like their little fireman kid or whatever, they'll have like it in the background wrapped around him or something with him, a little fire costume. I've seen that. But it's just kind of a vintage cool item for like somebody's workshop or whatever. It's just a nice, like a wrapped the fire hose with the couplings on it. It looks a lot nicer. And I got the red ones, white ones, and I have like 1 or 2 yellow ones. So yeah, they're definitely bolo. It's just you got to be willing to put in the work. I'm trying to find some of my other ones. Some of these I bid on, and then I just stopped at a point because I was like, you know what, this is like, yeah, this one I didn't keep going. They were at 150, or I would bid up to 140, and then they went to 150. I was like, you know what, I'm not doing it, because there was a couple things in there I found, or I could see that seemed okay, but I want to find. There's one that was just a very small investment, but I actually got this unit. As really crappy as this seems, I did buy this, and I would never suggest to get something like this, but I was able to see things that I knew I'd get my money back on. They definitely went through it. This is one of the cases they definitely went through it. There was a gaming chair right here. I sold that. This hockey stick I sold for $85, I believe. I was an idiot and left this air purifier out in the rain, so I lost all that investment. Anyway, this is a rain jacket ABU pattern Air Force, which is phasing out. You'll start to find this everywhere, because if you're around a military town. Oh yes, so I am. My job for the Air Force is I work on F-15s. I'm an avionics systems technician for F-15s, so I work on the radar systems, electronic systems, basically that control the jet. So what I'll do is I don't get any time on the jet. I don't go out there and like do the testing with on the jet itself. Someone on the flight line works on the jet as an avionics flight line personnel. They'll literally like hook up. I simplify their job, and we joke about it all the time. But it's like the Amazon people that hook the computers up, and then they say, oh, well, that's what's wrong with it. And then they say, you should get this fixed. So it's kind of like what we always joke that's what they do, and that's all they do. So what they'll do is they'll hook up these like bit test things, and then they'll take the parts out, and then they'll send them back to me, and I'll take the part open from that point. And they just look like a bunch of like weird shaped stereo units, or if you want to call them that. Some of them have screens, some of them are some of them really small, and they just work on different systems. But anyway, and so I'll take them apart, I'll run them on our systems, and then to check for faults, and then we'll just replace individual little circuit cards in there, or individual little chips or whatever. So yeah, my job is very specific. There's the one thing that people don't realize about the Air Force and even other branches is that when you're on like a base, or when you're in the military community, almost nearly every single job that you have on the outside is somewhere in the military. So like you'll have like anywhere from like being a policeman to like a fireman to a doctor to a someone that works what's called services. They'll work at the gym, and they'll literally like stack weights and stuff like that. And they're just made to like serve people in customer service and whatnot. And there's an actual Air Force, an AFSC, Air Force Specialty Code for that. But yeah, basically what I was getting at is that those are a lot more common. Every base needs a policeman, every base needs firemen, but not every base has F-15s, and not every base has F-15s that have a back shop. So what I was getting at is I have 6 bases in the entire world that I can go to. One's in Japan, the other one's in England, and those are my overseas ones. And then I have here, Goldsboro, North Carolina. And then I have Ellsworth, South Dakota. I have Dyess Air Force Base in Texas, and then Mountain Home Air Force Base in Mountain Home. I believe Mountain Home Air Force Base in, where is that? Idaho. Idaho. It's about 2 hours from Boise. And those are the only bases I can go to. People call this like a little black hole because you never really leave here if you don't want to, and I don't want to. And it's not that I like this area. I do not like this area very much at all. But for now, I just want to work on the business and not have to worry about the stresses of PCSing or leaving. And honestly, even if I wanted to leave this base, most people don't get the chance to. I mean, I can sit here and change my wish list on where I want to go. Like however they say you're supposed to do it. Like whenever the listings come out, then you change it and it alerts the system or whatever. But it doesn't really matter. The fact is, I haven't been here that long compared to everyone else. Some people have been here 12 years and they've never left, and they've been trying to leave every year. So like this is honestly just kind of a black hole. And like I said, I'm kind of fine with that. I'm only 6 hours from home. I'm an hour and a half from the ocean. I'm 2 hours from 2.5 hours from the mountains. But this area itself is not very nice. It's really good for what I do though. There's a lot of thrift stores, and there's a lot of flea markets, and there's a lot of storage units because it seems to be like the places that have like the worst economies, have like a bigger population of people and like poverty and whatnot. It seems like, I mean, it makes sense that you'd have more storage unit auctions. So you'd have more people going delinquent on their accounts. So yeah, for this area, I definitely wouldn't mind staying here, at least for the time being. I think eventually I'm going to get tired of this area though. I mean, I did buy this house. That's another thing. I don't really want to jump out of an investment like that. And
right.
Especially for what I bought the house for, with all this area. I mean, as most people know, you can get a mortgage payment, even with your property taxes thrown in, your homeowner's insurance, all that added up is still, for what you get, a lot cheaper than what you pay rent. Typically, it depends. There's a threshold where it gets kind of a lot, higher, to where the mortgage would be even more than what the rent would be. But for me, like renting this house out here, probably with the detached garage, it'd probably be about $1,000, and I think I pay like $800 for the mortgage, property taxes, and insurance.
Yeah, like yeah, that was a good question because, like, for one, the amount of stuff that you have because you have a storage unit,
Oh yeah,
and just a normal person moving their normal stuff, you know, to another location, and not only that, like, if you were setting up your flea markets and becoming, people starting to know you and really get your brand out there, you lose all that because now you're in a brand new area where, in another state, or, basically could be another side of the country, or not even maybe in the United States. They can move
right.
you all over the place. So, that would really, really put your business and, yourself in a whole crazy predicament for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and no doubt. Yeah, you see, you have people like Misha in the comments was saying. Her dad was an MP, so military police. When you're military police, you're available anywhere, and that includes definitely deployments. So
Right.
for me, my job, see, like everyone, like people that are in other branches, they make fun of the Air Force because of how relaxed our jobs are, which that's kind of true. I mean, we move. I'm not gonna say that, especially on here, because what if my sergeant's watching? But no, so the Air Force is a lot more relaxed because they focus less on like the whole military structure, and they focus more on the technical aspect and getting the job done, because everything is about getting that air power, because we have one of the most superior air powers in the world, and keeping that is a daily thing, keeping our our planes fixed, keeping these the training in the air. So it's a lot, the pressure is more so on that aspect, than like all these, military things you see in like military movies that are kind of, ridiculous and over the top, like in Full Metal Jacket or whatever. You see all these crazy things where, they're just how they act. Like it's less about that. It's not like I walk into work and I get, yelled at all the time to like, do this, do that. No, I don't get yelled at all. The respect aspect is definitely there, because they put a lot of money in our training. So because of that, like I was saying, she said that the MP, they move military police around all the time, and they go on deployments. With my job, I won't even get deployed if I don't want to. People want to get deployed because where they go is Qatar, and Qatar is really not that. It's Let me put it this way: Qatar is somewhere where other branches will go after a deployment for their rest and recuperation. It's one of the richest countries in the world, so that it's a good spot for our base, for certain reasons in that area. But all in all, like it's really not as much of a danger. So we don't even get hazard pay from a deployment. Like most people get deployment hazard pay, like just because of the hazardous and it's a danger to your life. But in reality, for the deployment for us, it's most people want to go. So I don't think I'll ever go on a deployment if I don't want to. I'll never get moved if I don't want to. And I work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So, I really can't complain about my position in the military. Will I stay in? That's a big question people ask. I really don't know. I watch.
My question for you: like, were you planning a career there, or are you gonna plan to go full time?
Man, it's really difficult. It's really difficult because even though I don't, there's not a huge amount of pressure on me. Military aspect, where the BS, as they call it, the political stuff with being in the military and having to follow the rank structure. Everyone trying to get a different rank, so they're throwing people under the bus. It does happen, but so people get tired of the military. That's what I'm getting at. People get tired of getting told what to do so much. Having to keep even little things like having to keep their haircut. It gets to people, which is understandable. Not people don't like being controlled. I get it.
Can't grow a beard.
You can't grow a beard.
That'd be a huge no with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that does bother people. Things like that. It's like they get to the point where they start to it does happen quite a bit, and the retention rate for my job specifically is really low. People always get out after their first term because it's like I said, the job isn't hard. It really isn't hard, and the amount of time that I put into it weekly, if I told someone in the Marine Corps, hey, I work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and I get, 2 or 3 of those days to go to PT, and we, do things together, but not like in the form where you're like everyone's standing at attention in formation, ready to do their jumping jacks and stuff. It's not so much like that in the Air Force as much. It is for certain people, but anyway, I'm just saying it's very relaxed. So it's very hard for me to think about getting out. But and then not just that, you want to talk about the benefits. The military has great benefits, really, really, really does. I mean, I can do 20 years of this job, and in March I'll have 5 years in, and I can do 20 years. And the day I retire, the day that I get out and retire, I will start receiving pension for the rest of my life. And you just can't find it. Like, it's hard. It's really difficult. Resale King was saying, he was in the military, and the retirement benefits, man, like you got TRICARE, it's the medical force, and I mean, they take care of you for the rest of your life with that. It is difficult. It is difficult to think about. I mean, like I said, the amount of time I spend there versus the amount of money that I make from it and everything. I mean, you can look this stuff up. And also you get an increase to your pay almost every single year. Like this year was the highest in a while. It's like 3.1% increase to our base pay. Yeah, Qatar is super hot, tiny country in the Gulf. No, yeah. I don't know if I'll stay in. I mean, I know that I could do. I mean, I do pretty well doing this part time, but I know that I'd be so much happier. I'm not gonna say I absolutely dread going to work, because it's not that bad, but I still dread going to work. Like I dread waking up every morning and being like, all right, well, I gotta go to this place, and I just don't get a crazy amount of pride from it. The military aspect, serving my country, I get that. It's just I love doing what I do with reselling, and it's such a simple thing. Like these little excitement I get of selling thing, or like posting thing, like, and I've done this for my whole life. On the side, I know I'd enjoy it full time, and I know I could pull good numbers full time. It's just that security with the military. Like, if I let's just say, because I'm a very active person, if I go and do some of the crazy stuff I like to do, and let's just say I broke my back, and it took 10 months for me to heal, and all this other stuff, physical therapy and whatnot. My business, where would it go? It'd be very difficult for me to continue. And if I was out of the military, I would literally just I'd have to figure something out, because I have no other, income coming in except for what I put into the business. In the military, if I break my back, holy crap, you're taken care of. You might be kicked out of the military, but you're still going to get a check the rest of your life. So it's very difficult. It's like I'm going to be on a lot of Josh's channel on the 9th, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot, because he had the same struggles, and he's even married. And so I'm sure that when you start to have a family, thinking about staying in the military is, people definitely like, it seems like that's when people stay in the military, it's either they really enjoy the environment that the military has, and they really enjoy the structure, and that's just the kind of thing that they really like, or maybe the job they have they love, or it's like, hey, I'm not crazy about this, but I've got a family to think about. And, they have that kid, and then they realize, hey, I didn't have to spend any money on this, on all the fees that you get from the hospital and everything from when you have a kid and whatnot. And all the programs they have to help military families. It's awesome. It really is. They have so many programs for military. So, I don't, like I said, this whole rant thing, I don't mean to go off, but it's something I think about every single day. I don't know. I go back and forth. I woke up yesterday, and I remember saying, you know what, I'm getting out. I want to be happy. I want to, and I watched a lot of Josh. I watched one of his videos, and I was like, I want to be happy. I want to do this. Like, I believe in myself. But at the end of the day, you start to think about your future, and really, like, how hard, if I do 15 more years and then I'm done and then I can live my life exactly how I want to. And it doesn't matter almost, it doesn't matter how well I do, because that military paycheck will be rolling in. So, that's another thing that it increases with the raises. So like it increases as the raises go up with the military. Your retirement check does the same thing. It has that same inflation markup, which most other places don't offer that. So he said, could you imagine retiring at 38 or 39 and having a check the rest of your life? Yeah, I would be 39. I'd be 39 years old and retired.
Yeah, I'm about to be 35. I wish I could retire at 39.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just, me personally, I would just rough out the last 4 years and go, and be set up to do more of the fun things and everything. But I feel you with hating going to your job and everything, man, because just like I'm about to go do in here in about an hour and a half, I'll be late. Or no, about an hour, I'll be leaving for work, and I'll be at work in an hour and a half. And every time I close the door and I look at the building, it's almost like I feel like I'm going into like I'm committing myself to prison or something like that. Like I'm basically just like giving myself away to somebody or something, like, you know what I mean, where I'm not appreciated. I work really hard, and I'm the type of person that, you do well, you should get rewarded for as well as you do. And I get paid very good, and that's not really what I'm getting at, but it's just almost like me being appreciated just as a good worker and a reliable worker, in a way that I don't, like I've talked about this multiple times where, my boss has never said good job to me, and I've been there over a year and a half. You know what I mean? Like, that is just insane. And I'm not saying I'm like the best worker in the world, but I've been doing this for most of my life. So of course I'm going to say a few times I've deserved a good job or whatever. I've heard him say it to other people, but it's like with me, he just won't. And he doesn't do it very often, but it's just his style of whatever you want to call it. I guess management. Yeah. And, it's tough, man, because at the end of the day, I'm working long hours. I'm running literally like I'm running full pace, like especially when we're busy. I'm running, trying to get as much done. I'm driving my forklift at like untalked about speeds, because they talk safety, but there's so much unsafety about our work that it just doesn't make any sense, because they want X amount of production because we're paid hourly. But the other people who are paid per transaction or the thing they do, they can go as fast or as slow as they want because they're under that guidelines. But because I'm hourly, I'm scrutinized more, because no matter how fast or how slow I work, I still get paid the same. But I still want to get done as fast as possible and go as fast as I can, because I want to make it home to see my kids, and only that, like, I want to just go back to reselling because I enjoyed so much, because there are so many things that I could be doing to help grow my business and get me more time with my family and a brighter financial future and freedom. So I feel you on all those parts, man. It's tough, and with the military having such a good retirement setup. I mean, it's tough, man. Like, it's like, dang if you do, dang if you don't.
Well, it's a whole other thing in the military when it comes to, like what you were saying, that really hits home with the, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like those people that get paid for every transaction, right? So there's the incentive. Okay, well, get all this done, and like, boom, you get that, right? So the military, you get paid the same. Like anyone can go right now and type in, I'm an E4. You can type in how many years I've been in, and boom, that's how much you see I get paid. And I do not get paid any different than that. Well, I get that. That's my base pay. And then everyone gets if you're off base and you have your own, you're not staying in the dorm, you get a BAH rate, which is depending on your zip code. So it's like a basic allowance for housing. So you get that. So for me, it's like $948 for that. on top of my base pay that I get for the military. And then you get a BAS stipend, basic allowance for substance. It's for your food and whatnot. That's $369 a month for that. So it's not bad in that regard, pay wise. But basically what I'm getting at is it's like, there's a lot of people in my rank, E4. And so everyone gets paid the same. Like there's no question. It's like everyone gets paid the same around. So it doesn't matter what you do. I could go in there and if I just went to the bathroom and stayed for hours and just no one noticed or whatever, there's no tracking system that says, hey, this person didn't do anything today. And it's like, well, where's the incentive to do anything? Well, okay, so it is there. Like there are awards I can get. Like if I was like the maintenance professional of the quarter or whatever, and then I get that, and then that goes on my list and performance report saying that I got some sort of award. But then that goes towards promotion, which it only gives me a little bit more points on a test that I take. So you're pretty much taking a test to become a manager, to become a sergeant. So you're literally like, that's it. Like you're taking a test on like your knowledge base on the way the Air Force works and everything like that. And then that makes you a manager. And then that makes so you're able to be in charge of people. I mean, to me, that doesn't make sense, but I've had conversations with people about that before. But all I'm getting at is like, where's the incentive? Like for like, if I have to worry about me doing like one thing for the day, and then that creates like second and third order effects so that I could potentially get a little bit more points on my big test whenever I'm a good test taker anyway. I don't need to worry about that. And then I still have to wait for my time in service to get up, which I'm going to be testing for staff sergeant this year. But all I'm saying is like, it just seems it's like day to day, like you were saying it's just like, there's no incentive. Especially for something that, and I'm sorry, that this sounds like this, but it's just, I don't have that much pride about it, the work. Like every once in a while I do, the very thought of someone fixing something. Like if anyone fixes something, I don't care if you normally fix cars or whatever, if you fix something, you get that little bit of pride. But it's like, I work on the same 3 units in my area, like all the time. And there's new things that come up and I could learn all kinds of stuff. Like I could learn all kinds of stuff I really wanted to. But it's like when I'm there, I'm thinking about being here. I'm thinking about doing the reselling. And as easy as it is there, as relaxed as it can be, you can just cruise through. You really can. When I become staff sergeant, I can retire at that. There's no threshold saying that I can't retire at staff sergeant. The rank I'm at now, I can't retire. They kick you out after a certain period of time if you don't rank up to a certain rank. But now I can just be this next rank and be that for the next 15 years. Mm-hmm. And retire. My retirement won't be as great as other people, but it's 50%. The pension rate the day after you retire is 50% of what you made, which that's like $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And I'll get that the rest of my life, and it'll go up with inflation. So it's a very difficult decision for me, because if I worked a lot, if my job required that I worked like 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, there'd be no question. There'd be no question at all. Even if I was a police officer, security forces, they're constantly on their feet working and stuff like that. For me, I'll sit here and I'll just get this big box and I'll hook it up to the unit, and it'll take sometimes 3 hours for it to just run through all the tests through the circuits. So at that time, what am I doing? Just waiting. There's little things I can do here and there, but all in all, it gets very idle, and that idleness kills me. I cannot stand idleness. I get antsy, and I find myself. I got in trouble at one time because I was sitting here looking up things on eBay, just looking up different things I could comp out. I was looking at other people's stores, seeing what they were selling or whatever. And then one of my sergeants came up. He's like, "Man, you need to get off eBay." Like some of the bosses came down, they saw you on eBay. Then they came back and the next day saw you on eBay. So, like I said, it's more of a mental thing for me. But what if something happens? What if I do even break my leg and it slows me down even that much? Mm-hmm. What if I get something that is a big health risk and it just takes me a long time to recover? Or there's plenty of things that I could think of that would just affect me so much more being out of the military than what it would affect me if I was in. If I was in, they would take care of me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's what makes it so hard for me to make the decision. And I have one more year after March, and within that time, I can re-enlist. Which it really sucks. Every once in a while, the Air Force actually has enlistment bonuses, and then they also have re-enlistment bonuses. And for my job being kind of hard to keep people in, they have re-enlistment bonuses every once in a while. So they haven't had one in like 3 years. We got an email about a month ago saying, "Hey, your job is eligible for a re-enlistment bonus." Literally an hour later, they said, "Hey, your job is now not available for re-enlistment bonus," which that would have been like an extra $30,000 or $40,000 if I would have re-enlisted.
Wow.
That just in an hour time frame, and that doesn't happen. It was a mistake that they made, but if they offered a re-enlistment bonus, that would be another factor. But honestly, I don't know. I'm starting to think more about my long-term happiness, and I'm very like money centered. Like I really care about like money and whatnot, and like obviously it gets a lot of things in life, but as they say, money isn't everything, and that's the way I kind of look at it with whether or not I'd get out. I just really don't know. I don't know. I'll probably be on all different shows or different videos and say things completely different about whether or not I want to get out, whether or not I want to stay in. It goes back and forth almost every single day. So yes, all I do is listen to, like, take in other people's opinions on it, and try to make the best of it somehow.
I'm sure with whatever you decide to do, and I know that the cherry picker also is kind of like in that type of thought process and mode of what she's going to do, because she's thought about going full time as well. I know that you guys, will do the right thing and pick whatever you feel is best for yourself. Just talking with you, I know that you have the reselling it. You know what I mean? Like people talk about having, very knowledgeable person who, has a good feel of what they're doing and are starting to master or mastering their craft. So I think that, whatever you do moving forward, you're going to succeed. You just got to pick it, move on, and be good, man. I mean, I really think that, regardless of if you stay in the military or not, I think reselling is going to be still a huge part of what you do, and it's always going to be what you enjoy. And just talking with you today, I can see that you have a real passion for it, and that you enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I definitely enjoy it. It's really fun. That's another aspect I was gonna tell y'all with the flea market that I love. I think it's really fun. The money obviously is decent. With that immediate cash you get, but like I enjoy it a lot. Like just talking to the people. I have a pretty like you were saying about building up a reputation. Like I do have people that come through. Like the guy Barry, the one that owns the flea market. He comes. When I'm not there, he's like, man, they keep coming by and asking like, hey, where's that dude with the trailer? Where's he at? So it's definitely there.
That's a good thing, man. Like moving forward, you might even, I don't know, what you're doing for branding or, as a, for your company or whatever, but, you might really want to, really put in some good thought or definitely put out some business cards and things like that. And, really promote, because that's a good way to move your business forward. Like with say you find someone that wants fire hoses, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You meet somebody, it's like, hey, I use X amount of this a year, or, I like buying this type of stuff. If you come into, if you come into any of this stuff, let me know. Boom, you automatically have a go-to person for this type of item. And you get a few people like that. And it just makes, getting these storage lockers where maybe you see that possibly could be there or that it is there. Then you're able to go, okay, well, that's money in the bank. I can automatically sell that, and that is half the price of the locker or whatever the case is. So, that's what I would do. I wish I had more time where I can actually like do some of these things and go to flea markets. But with how I work and everything, I'm really limited on what I can do and what I can't do. With business and everything in general. Especially with family and everything going on too. And it's hard because I enjoy it just like you do. It's not. We do it initially because we love the hustle and we love the money and everything else. But as my career or business of reselling grows, I mean, that's always nice, but it's the other things that make it so much enjoyable. You know what I mean? Just like, for example, like YouTube and doing this, like talking with Anthony, talking with you, talking with Grimes Finds and some other guests that we have, and all the people in the chat that come in and really support us. I really enjoy that. You know what I mean? And I look forward to that like every day. Like, when we didn't do it yesterday, I was on YouTube like, man, like I want to do the show, but I mean, it was Christmas, and I just, I didn't want to do it, because it is Christmas morning. I want everyone to enjoy their Christmas, and not, you feel like they need to watch the show or anything. So, what I mean. So, yeah, of course, that was a good decision, but I still have that feeling of, I love doing this. You know what I mean? I'm not making anything from doing YouTube or anything like that, and I probably won't for a long time. But it's all about the networking and the relationships and just having good people to talk to and bounce ideas off of, and to really feel, if I am doing something maybe I don't know much of, okay, well, I can ask Anthony, or I can ask you, or I can ask any, another person that maybe specializes in something. So, I just really, really love the community and the people that support us. And I try to support them as much and help them if all possible, if I can.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely an aspect that I'm really growing on. I love being on here. At first, when I started my YouTube channel, like, I don't know, like 8 months ago, I did nothing. Like, honestly, like I started 8 months ago, and then I stopped for literally like about 3 months, posted one video, stopped for 3 months, posted one video. And then now, I've just been doing these live shows, and I've just been enjoying the actual community. Like, at first it was the thought like, hey, I see these other people getting on there and talking about what they like to do, and they might make a little bit of money from it, and then they also like network with people. But it's become now that it's like, I love the fact that I can actually be around people that do the same thing as me, because I don't have that at all.
Right.
It's very difficult. Well, I have actually one of my buddies. He's actually here. He is now. I kind of talked him into getting into reselling. He has this is his little box.
Oh, okay.
Of his little things he's starting off with, and he posted 5 things. And they were all like little bionicle pieces, and he sold one thing. But so yeah, he's actually getting into it. He's pretty excited about it. But in reality, most of the time, it's like I've never ever had any friends growing up or anything like that had the same mentality as me, which really, really sucked for me. But now with this, it's awesome because I get to have that. I really enjoy that aspect. I'm just having friends on here that are in the same position. A lot, almost some of them are even in the same exact position. Being in the military and or have been in the military and getting out to do this full time or whatever. But I know a lot of us are full time jobs and then part time resellers.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to start winding it down. We have D coming on at 12 o'clock Eastern, following our show. And we also want to have everyone check out Brandon's channel. The links in the description of the video, along with mine and Anthony's if you're not subbed to Anthony, which I'm sure a lot of you already are. Also is my eBay store if you would like to see my items or possibly some merch. That is all good. But thanks, Brandon, for coming on and really diving in and telling us a lot of the different things and knowledge that you have. And we appreciate you for coming on.
No, I appreciate y'all letting me come on. It's really fun doing this. So I'll definitely come on anytime y'all have me. I love doing this, and I might start doing my own live thing sometime. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on, man.
Anthony, you got anything going on today?
I'm going to release a pre-recorded video at some point. I was thinking about doing a working hangout, but I'm sore as heck just sitting here right now, so I'm probably not going to do a hangout today. But show will be on my channel tomorrow, so come on over for that. Hip Flip and Mama's going to be with us tomorrow, so that'll be a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always love seeing Mama around.
Mm-hmm. She's nice. But, yeah, I definitely appreciate y'all letting me come on here and get my, it's also definitely get my channel out there. I think I got 190, I think it is now, and I'm almost to 200. So
let's get them to 200, guys. Come on, I know there's got to be 10 people here that may not have subbed to Brandon already. Let's go show them some love.
I see a lot of people that I know are subbed to me.
Cool.
But then again, there's 30 in here, I believe, and I see about 10 or 15 that I know I have seen about 10 or 15 that I know are subbed to me. But y'all have already got me. I think you got me 8.
Nice.
Been on here, so that's good. I appreciate that.
Whoever subbed to Brandon, I thank you. We really appreciate you spreading the love. And also, if you have a channel that you're doing content in, go ahead and share it in the chat. If you're not blue, I'll make you blue. I'm pretty sure I got mostly everybody that has channels that are blue.
Oh, my bad. Let me see.
Yeah, make sure to share the love around. Everyone sub to one another, and show this great community the support that I know that we have. So, all right. Well,
Danny's asking the update on the return. Are you talking about the combo unit, Danny? Update on that is I got the item back, and it, like, you could tell it was tampered with. There was a screw missing out of it, and like the lid that holds the top of the unit on was like basically loose. So I basically just called eBay and added that to the case they started on the guy. But as far as anything else, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty much beat on the money. I already refunded him and whatnot, but at least the guy's going to get banned.
Yeah, I'm going through something similar to someone right now that I sent something GSP, which usually I do international direct. So I'm glad that this went through GSP, and they're asked about the box condition. I says it's brand new in the box because it was one of those Star Wars figures, those TIE fighters, brand new in the box. It's been sitting on my shelf, no visible damage at all. It got to eBay, and they shipped it off, and then they sent me pictures of it, and it's like a minor box creasing, and I'm like, it went from here to the UK. What did you expect? It, there's probably a good chance that there was going to be a little bit of damage or whatever. So
yeah,
and they replaced they put it into their packaging too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I said. I says it only went from from when it left my hands. That's the only time I can guarantee its condition being what it is. And I packed it well. I sent to eBay, and then eBay repacked it and sent it to you. So I says, there's not much I can do from this point on. But well, I guess we'll have a update for that tomorrow during the show. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure with GSP, I'm pretty much protected. So
yeah, you should be fine.
Here, and cheers to GSP for protections.
Should give me a wrench, Nate. I don't got my wrench.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm pretty good with that, but sometimes I'll miss some people. Old school picker, let me get you, buddy. Type in the chat real quick. Resale King.
Hey.
There you go. All right. Old school and resale are blue. I don't know how I miss old school picker with blue, but
because you were probably looking for Larry.
Probably, you never know. But all right, everyone, we're gonna cut it off here. Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow we're on Anthony's channel, and we always do a hangout, usually on Friday or Saturday. So watch for that. I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you tomorrow on Anthony's channel.